We are here today for you to introduce yourself to the rest of the IDC. And I will introduce you sort of our 2024-2025 IDC President, Denise Baker-Seal. Tell us a little bit about your background.
I have been a defense attorney essentially my entire practicing career. When I graduated law school, I did clerk for 2 years, and then I joined the firm that I'm with now, Brown and James, and I have been with them for 24 years. As far as background before that, I'm a farmer's daughter and have a brother who runs the farm now. So I've always brought that kind of experience and work ethic into my professional career.
Was it your internship or your clerkship that got you really interested in defense work?
It was actually, as a clerk, I was able to sit for many trials and provided support to my judge on many dispositive motions, and I became very impressed, quite honestly, by the work that my firm provided to the judge, and because of that, it just seemed to click in my brain that I should be on that side of the V. So I only applied one place after my clerkship. Fortunately, they took me, and I've been there ever since.
Give us a good story. Tell us about one of your big successes ever.
Yeah, I actually had to think about this, but it came up. It was easy to remember one of the best cases that I ever handled, to be honest, because it was memorable. I represent a company that provides medical care, and we had a doctor that kept suing us for employment discrimination claims, and we kept winning and winning and winning. And then, ironically enough, actually, his wife filed another type of lawsuit, a discrimination type lawsuit, and we won that case as well. So there was a particular doctor, because he kept filing lawsuits, that pretty much kept me in business in the first few years of my practice. But my favorite part about handling those cases is the fact, and I only have one client that I think has ever done this, she still to this day has the check that physician wrote for the costs in the case hanging in her office to remind her of our win. So it was a lot of fun.
So how did you get involved with the IDC?
Well, I was invited to apply for membership by an attorney that I respected quite a bit. His name was Al Pernitis, and he was probably inviting me to participate because there was some type of membership drive that was occurring at the time. But Al reached out to me, and he essentially communicated to me that if I wanted to be, a strong defense attorney in the defense legal community, that I needed to be part of the organization. So I trusted his judgment and I joined the organization.
So what inspired you to become the IDC president?
Actually, it was my relationships with other board members and past presidents. There were several past presidents that approached me and essentially communicated to me that they thought I would be a good fit to be on the executive committee of the IDC. I didn't necessarily agree with them initially, but as I talked to people and as my relationships with other board members and other executive committees members grew, I realized that it was something that I wanted to do. I did feel like I had the time and the ability to give back to the organization, and so I chose to accept, the call to become on the executive committee, and then, as you know, you go through the ranks and eventually become president.
Well, you only have 1 year as president, so what do you hope to accomplish during that 1 year?
That's a very good question. My hope really is to just keep the IDC on track. I personally believe that we are a very strong organization, and my goal is to just strengthen that as we progress through this year. I know in my heart that the strength of the IDC comes not necessarily from its president or even its executive committee or even its board members. The strength of this organization comes from every single member who donates and provides their expertise to put on the many programs that we put on, to write for our publications, and to be involved in everything we do as the association.
So even after your 1 year is done, do you have a long-term vision for how you want the IDC to progress?
Absolutely, I do. I want it to continue to strengthen in terms of membership numbers and to continue to strengthen in terms of the content and the programming that we put out. Um, I think the IDC does a phenomenal job training young lawyers. I hope that that continues to remain one of the top priorities of the organization because I think it's critically important to make sure that new lawyers have the tools that they need to do the job that we do.
Ever since COVID, it seems like there's been a lot of organizations who are losing membership and people are dropping out of things. So how do you hope to maintain or increase the membership and its engagement with the various activities?
I think you are definitely right, and you definitely identified an issue that is on the forefront of our discussions now as we move forward. Our membership has dropped. I remember the year that we hit 1,000 members, and we have dropped since then. But moving forward, I think the key to continue to grow membership is to continue to outreach. And that outreach should be, in my opinion, like the outreach that Mr. Pranitis made to me. It really needs to be word of mouth among the people of our, in our legal community. And I think if people continue to reach out, continue to value the IDC, then we will be able to grow our membership. Secondarily, of course, it's critically important that we continue to offer the stellar programming and top-notch publications that we have been able to produce over the years, because I think those tools are incredibly valuable for our members. And as long as we continue to do that, I think our current members will stay and also realize the value that we have to offer.
When you joined as a young attorney, you gained a lot from the organization. So what is your plan to help mentor and support the younger attorneys who join the organization?
Like I mentioned earlier, it's not me really leading this organization that does everything that we do. In this particular year, I'm going to really lean on our practice development committee. We have a very strong practice development committee, and I'm going to continue to lean on them as we move through this year to provide the necessary tools and programming for young lawyers. We do have a trial academy that will be on slate for this particular year. I want to continue, as the IDC moves forward, to continue to offer academies like the Trial Academy, our Deposition Academy, and even our A to Z Litigation Academy. So this year it's the Trial Academy, so that will obviously give younger attorneys the opportunity to learn and to test their trial skills in practice.
And what kind of professional development opportunities are there for the more experienced lawyers as well as the younger lawyers?
That's a good question as well. I think the IDC has a wide variety of opportunities for attorneys to develop themselves professionally, and they can do it in the context of either through written publications, or they can do it through attending our CLEs, speaking at our CLEs. We also offer webinars. Attorneys can participate by attending the CLEs, or they can become speakers. We are always open to allowing members the opportunity to get out in front and to do whatever they're willing to do within the organization, to become involved, or quite simply just attend our events.
There's plenty of opportunities for the members to get their name out in front of clients and in front of the community to show what they're doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We would welcome anyone who was willing to stand up and say, I will do this. We will find a spot and find an opportunity for them to speak or to write, to be involved, to be in leadership, to be any role that they would like to have in the IDC.
I understand the IDC has a legislative committee. What role do you think the IDC should play in legislative matters?
That's a good question. I honestly think that one of the most significant and important roles that the IDC serves is through our legislative committee. Those members of that committee work tirelessly to really monitor and be involved in the legislative process in Illinois. Sometimes they have to work quickly as well because, as we know, sometimes the legislators have pushed bills through and pushed items through very quickly and even overnight at times. So I'm very thankful for the members of the legislative committee who work to monitor all pending legislation, to identify what legislation is important to the defense bar, and when necessary to take action on the pending legislation, including testifying if necessary, writing white papers, calling, reaching out to our legislators.
As time goes on, technology seems to be advancing at a faster and faster pace. So does the IDC offer any resources to its members to utilize technology in this fast-paced world?
Absolutely, we do. The IDC has, I think, I can think of two things in particular that apply to your question. We have the ability for our members to discuss, in a limited group. We have several different forums, but they have the ability to reach out to other members and seek guidance and input, and that's called the network. The network is available through the IDC website, and members can use the network and choose which particular category to put their question into, and essentially post a question and get input from defense attorneys across the state. So, for example, if you need an expert witness in a particular field, like for instance, a particular medical field like ENT, you can post a question and then attorneys from across the state will provide you with input and ideas. The second thing that we have that I think is of great value to civil litigation attorneys is our expert witness database and profiler. What that is, it's the ability, we're working with a vendor and a sponsor of the IDC. And again, this is through the IDC website. You can request reports about particular experts. And the initial report is actually free, of no charge. And so you can investigate either an expert that you're considering using in a case, an expert of your opponent in the case, and then if you determine from the free report that there's additional information you need, there's the opportunity to buy a more detailed report. So I think those are two very valuable resources that folks on the ground can use in order to get insight and guidance from defense attorneys across the state.
What partnerships or collaborations or with other organizations do you anticipate pursuing, or are you already involved with?
That's a very good question. I think the IDC has always in the past, and we will continue to be open to partnering with a wide variety of bar associations. I personally have already reached out to ITLA this year, so we can have a conversation about partnership opportunities and working together moving forward. In addition to just other bar associations, I think it's important to note that the IDC can't do what we do without the support of our numerous sponsors. There are several companies and organizations that have supported the IDC through the years, and we have some new ones in the past year. It is critically important to moving forward and doing everything that we do at the IDC to have that sponsorship support. So in addition to supporting us financially, they also provide excellent opportunities, free opportunities for our members to learn about certain areas that they have expertise in, and they provide free CLE to our members.
We've both been involved with the IDC for a long time. What's your most favorite event?
That's difficult to choose because I love them all, but I think my favorite event that we have hosted recently is the golf tournament. We held a golf tournament for the first time this past year, and I really enjoyed that. And we're definitely going to do that this year during my term. I think it is a great opportunity to combine socializing with our members and our clients. A lot of folks brought their clients to the golf tournament and had the ability to golf with them, alone, essentially in the golf cart for many hours throughout the day. So I would say that my favorite event was, in fact, the golf tournament, and I'm looking forward to having another one this year. So I hope all of our members, stay tuned to when we release details about the upcoming golf tournament.